Filipino fans made their way to catch the Pinay tennis phenom in action.
I've been coming to this tournament for 10 years. So I'm excited that we finally have a Filipino here again.
I got a selfie with her, and also this is my first ever tennis tournament ever. So I'm excited. This is special.
Filipina tennis star Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans turn out in full force to cheer her on.
A truly extraordinary development is unfolding just before the Stuttgart Open, and the entire tennis community is paying close attention. Markus Günthardt, the director of the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in Stuttgart, has taken a bold step that is creating ripples across the WTA Tour. Young Filipino star Alex Eala, who has been shaking up the tennis world, will not have to fight through the qualifying rounds for the Stuttgart Open. Günthardt has directly granted her a spot in the main draw. Once you grasp everything that has been happening around this rising player, it becomes crystal clear why this choice was not made lightly or in haste. This decision came because the proof had grown far too strong to overlook any longer. Let's examine what truly goes through the mind of a tournament director when facing such a call. Günthardt has organized the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix for many years. He understands the tennis business inside out. He knows that Stuttgart is already considered one of the most prestigious events on the entire WTA calendar. It is a clay court tournament rich in tradition, status, and supported by a highly dedicated fan community. He has no need to hunt for extra publicity. Yet even a tournament this strong can clearly feel the difference between a year when the whole world tunes in and a year that simply passes by unnoticed. Günthardt has closely observed what occurs every time Alex Eala appears at an event. What he witnessed has completely altered his thinking. Here is the clear reality he is dealing with. Every tournament director who has fully welcomed Eala, given her the biggest court, and awarded her a main draw position has ended up with results their event had never experienced before. This is not guesswork, it is a proven, repeated pattern, and Günthardt is far too seasoned to see this pattern and ignore it. Consider what took place at Indian Wells. The 2026 edition of that tournament will be remembered for years, not for the champion, but for the massive impact one single player had on the whole atmosphere of the event. The instant Eala's first-round match was announced, fans rushed the ticketing website in such huge numbers that the system crashed under the load. Ticket prices shot up to figures never seen before in the tournament's history. When everything was calculated, that one first-round match alone brought in $5 million in ticket revenue. Not a final, not a semifinal, a first-round match. The term that came out of this moment, the Eala effect, is now mentioned in every tournament office around the tour. Günthardt has heard it clearly. He knows exactly what it stands for. But the Indian Wells story runs much deeper than money alone. It showed that Eala is not only attracting regular tennis fans. She is bringing in thousands of people who had never thought about attending a tennis match before. People from every part of the world came with one goal: to be inside that stadium, to experience the electric atmosphere, and to take part in a historic occasion. When a sports event begins drawing this kind of crowd, it stops being just a tennis tournament. It turns into a major cultural phenomenon, and now Stuttgart has the chance to become exactly that.
I'm very grateful for all the support that's been coming my way, and it's really heartwarming to see that they really they make the effort and they take the time to come out and to support, and it makes the experience for the players.
Then there was the remarkable scene in Austria. When Alex Eala was drawn against Julia Grabher at the Ladies' Linz Open, nearly 90% of the tickets were bought not by local Austrian supporters cheering for their own player, but by Eala fans who had organized across countries to fill the arena. Grabher, competing on her home ground, actually entered the court as the visiting player. Tournament director Sandra Reichel instantly realized what she was dealing with. She openly promised to put Eala on the largest available court and personally announced she would welcome her to the event, saying the energy would be something the Ladies' Linz Open had never seen in its 35-year history. Günthardt has studied every detail of that story. He has asked himself what it could mean for his own tournament in Stuttgart, an event that already possesses the facilities and reputation to make the most of everything Alex Eala brings with her.
And it's great always to welcome new players and newcomers and players who will own the future, I would say. So it's great, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our first time.
Then came Miami. James Blake did not wait for the momentum to arrive on its own. He placed Eala on center court and spoke frankly about how her participation would lift the entire tournament. He pointed out that her popularity had gone far beyond the usual tennis crowd, pulling in supporters from Asia, Europe, and North America who were not regular followers of the sport. This kind of audience growth cannot be created through any marketing campaign. It can only come from the player herself. Blake even forecasted that Miami would smash all previous revenue records thanks to her presence. Günthardt has paid very close attention to every comment Blake made. What makes Günthardt's decision even more thoughtful is this: Stuttgart is played on clay, a surface that requires complete physical energy, sharp tactics, and total mental focus. Going through qualifying matches can drain a player of exactly those qualities before the main draw even starts. By giving Eala direct entry, Günthardt is making not only a smart business choice but also a wise sporting one. He wants to see Eala on the clay courts at her absolute peak from the very first round because he has witnessed what she can achieve when given those perfect conditions. He wants Stuttgart to be the place where that strongest version of Eala shines. There is also an important lesson from tournaments that did not fully embrace her. At the Australian Open, she was scheduled on smaller courts even though her fan base was enormous. The outcome was total chaos. Hundreds of thousands of fans waited in extremely long lines and many could not even enter the venue. Instead of reducing her popularity, this mistake only made her supporters more determined. The tournaments that made better choices enjoyed huge success, while the Australian Open's error became a warning story throughout the sport. Günthardt has no desire to let Stuttgart repeat that same mistake. And apart from the crowds and financial benefits, there is also what the players themselves are saying. Jessica Pegula, a highly experienced WTA competitor, played against Eala in Miami and called the atmosphere something she had never experienced in her whole career. The fans were not just watching, they were actively involved. Every point and every rally triggered reactions that Pegula described as unbelievable. It was a level of excitement and passion that no other player on the tour was creating, whether in Australia, Dubai, or Miami. When a top player like Pegula admits she had never felt anything like it before, the entire tour listens carefully. Even Novak Djokovic, whose opinion carries enormous respect in tennis, described Alex Eala as the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced. That is not a casual remark. It is a powerful statement from someone who truly understands what greatness means. Günthardt has taken all of this in. He has examined the attendance numbers, reviewed the financial data, and watched event after event completely change after deciding to place Eala where she truly belongs. Putting her in the qualifying rounds would have been deliberately ignoring the obvious. It would have meant Stuttgart turning its back on the $5 million first-round ticket sales seen at Indian Wells and forcing its own fans to wait. It would have meant seeing what Reichel did in Linz and what Blake did in Miami, then choosing to do the exact opposite. After everything that happened throughout the 2026 season, such a choice would have been impossible to defend. Instead, Günthardt has understood that giving Alex Eala a main draw spot is not only beneficial for her career, it completely transforms the tournament itself. The people walking through the gates in Stuttgart will include many who have never watched a WTA match in their lives. The atmosphere on the days she competes will be something the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix has never experienced before. And it all begins with this single, decisive choice to look at Alex Eala and declare, "You do not belong in qualifying, you are a main draw player, you are someone the whole world wants to watch." The Eala effect has now reached Stuttgart, and under Markus Günthardt's leadership, the tournament is fully prepared for every thrilling moment of it. What are your thoughts on Günthardt's decision to place Alex Eala straight into the Stuttgart main draw? Is this only a business decision, or do the sporting reasons matter just as much? Could Stuttgart create the next big Indian Wells-style moment? And as more and more directors make the same choice, is the WTA falling behind in understanding what Alex Eala truly represents for the future of women's tennis? Share your opinions in the comments. This discussion is only growing stronger.